good.
All right, fantastic. Well, amazing to have here the DVie CEO and founder, Sanjoe. Amazing to have you here. Thank you so much. And of course, our topic for today is the Great Tech Rocket Ship. So, Sanjoe, it's like 9 years ago that we did this together. Tell me, what do you remember about the Great Tech Rocket Ships and the visit from India?
Well, I think Great Tech Rocket Ship was a great experience. That was the first time I believe I was in the UK, and I didn't know much about UK as a entrepreneur. Also, it was fairly early in my journey in my career, so I most of my experience was dealing with customers and people in India at that point of time. So I think Great Tech Rocket Ship was my first foray outside India, trying to understand how culture, business, people are outside India. So it was a great experience. I think what was the most exciting aspect of the entire experience was the people who were part of that entire process. I'm still friends with most of them. In fact, I meet them.
Amazing.
I think met all of them at least once, and some of them I've met multiple times, as recent as last 6 months. So whenever I go back to India, I meet up with some of them. I've been great friends with them because it's also not easy to find many other entrepreneurs unless you're in a program like an accelerator or something, right? So I think, which we were not. So I think this was one place where we also got to spend time, 7 days with a few individuals. We traveled together from India, and
It was
we
intense, right? It was a big
yeah,
hit.
yeah, we
I
did
don't know if you
everything
remember,
together.
but you guys, we had over 300 applications for that program. And
Yeah.
you guys basically won your places through merit, right? So you did the demo nights, but then you went through a review panel and you were all picked over the other ones, and there were some amazing companies in there. So it's actually quite something that you even made it into the trip, right?
Yeah.
It's a real testament
Yeah.
to all of you, and I know you've
Yeah.
all gone on to do amazing things since. So why don't you tell everybody who's on the listening to the podcast, and what is DVie? What are you doing now, 9 years on from the Great Rocket Ships?
So, DVie is an AI-powered interview and exam delivery platform where we help organizations to conduct exams and interviews online in a secure, efficient, and effective manner. So, we work with customers across use cases from hiring, internal learning and development, certifications, academic exams. So, any kind of talent measurement or skill measurement process where you would want to conduct interviews and exam. We help customers with doing that with capabilities like remote proctoring, capabilities like scheduling, matching, a lot of those capabilities which helps us to help our customers do the entire process of skill measurement significantly more efficient and faster. So that's the crux of what we do. We today work with close to 200 plus large enterprises across the globe. So this includes the likes of Meta, Amazon, Nvidia, Cambridge University. So some of the largest organizations across the globe, and we are a team of close to 200 people spread across. We are headquartered right now in the US. We have offices in the UK and also India, where our R&D office also in India, in Bangalore.
Congratulations. That's a huge amount of growth in the 9 years. Fantastic. And you're really,
Thank you.
really pleased for you. You know, when I met you on the program and stuff, we could see that there'd be something amazing that was going to happen for you
Yeah, I
and
think
it'd be
we were a
incredible.
single digit team back then, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe.
you were a lot smaller. Yeah, a lot smaller, but a lot of aspirations.
Yeah.
So tell me, when you look back on this program, is there anything that happened during that week that kind of sowed a seed for you now, or anything that changed as a result of that week?
So I think the way Stuart, you and team designed the program, it was perfect in terms of we got exposure not just to the ways of doing business, but also the culture, and not, it was also not specific to most programs, similar programs. You would just go to like the biggest city, like you go to London, but you actually not just took us to London, you took us to Manchester. You gave us a flavor of the sports scene. You gave us a flavor of the food scene. So I think it basically helped us to understand entire UK region very well. And I think thanks to that, and obviously how things have evolved, UK is one of our largest regions in terms of business right now, and is the fastest growing region. We work with a lot of big organizations in the UK, City and Guilds, Trinity College, Cambridge, of course, and a bunch of other organizations as well. And I think it also was very useful in terms of you had very structured input in terms of whether it's from a legal standpoint, how to set up business or how to run business in the UK, or from a marketing standpoint. So I think we got enough inputs which became the foundation for us to start growing the business in the region. So and we also met some great people. Some of them believe who has so UKTI, for example. We had interactions subsequent to that as well, and we've been keeping in touch and have engaged as we grow in the region. In fact, one of our early hires is someone I met during that visit in London.
Okay.
So that person eventually became my first hire in the UK. So yeah, I think a lot of
How
great
cool is
things.
that? How cool is that? I was looking back at the video the other week, which is what started all this this journey off on the podcast, and it's amazing that I look younger in that video, but you look younger today. I don't know what your living is like, my friend, but you're doing really well, right?
Thank you, thank you. It's a lot of effort.
Well, thanks for that. And it's really good to hear how successful you are. And although you have chosen to live in the US, and obviously it was UK great tech rocket ships, it would have been a perfect story if you'd have then landed in London and lived forever. But I'm super glad that you're going so well. And I just wonder if you wanted to close out today's short podcast with advice for any Indian founder who's looking at coming to the UK in the future. Like, what can you share from your wisdom of doing this, and of course from the US as well?
Yeah, I think most often people look at US as the large market, and UK and probably rest of the other Europe and Asia and all of them as smaller markets. And that's I think that's what we also did when we were looking to go global. We came and set up home base here. What my experience has shown over the years is yeah, UK is a great market to do business in, especially if you are an Indian founder, because one, there is a lot of cultural bonds and similarities. There's a lot of familiarity with respect to how things work in India and in UK because of our shared history. And the other aspect, which I believe is also that US is a very, while it's a large market, it's also often a very crowded market. You would find every vendor in your segment trying to enter the US market because of the size. But I think UK relatively is, while it's still competitive, it's a lot, especially if you're an upstart, if you're somebody who is entering a space where you have competition. I think UK is a space where you can compete more effectively. And the structure of the market is such that there are many large organizations, marquee brands, are also open to working with startups. I think and their great rocket ship experience also showed us that a lot of those large organizations were engaging with us when we were like very small. But I think that's part of the culture. There is general appetite for engaging with startups and looking for best solutions from across the globe, from amongst large organizations in the UK, which is also, I think, a great thing. So I would say that, especially if you are as a founder, if you're entering a segment where there is some amount of competition, I would give UK a serious consideration compared to going after a more crowded or competitive market like the US as your primary market.
So would you say it's like a stepping stone that you do the UK first and then the US, or would you say there's enough in the UK that you wouldn't need to go to the US? Well, I
I
guess
think
you
you
chose the
can
US, right?
build, yeah, you can build large businesses in the UK, and obviously UK is a stepping stone for rest of Europe and also Asia Pacific. You don't, I think there are now, in maybe not true a decade back, but today there are many large software businesses which do not have any presence in the US.
Mm.
Uh, They're primarily in Europe or in Asia Pacific or a combination of that. Obviously, I think that's also a very viable model for a fast-growing business. And I think UK is perfectly positioned to be the stepping stone for Europe. And you can always, there's a lot of learning from UK, which you can also apply to the US market as well.
Thank you for that. Well, Sanjoe, from Kerala to Bangalore to London, Manchester, California, and now Oklahoma, you truly are an amazing founder. Thank you so much for sharing some time with us today. Really appreciate it.
Wonderful. Always a pleasure.